Okay, we are starting with a fairly centered lump of clay, moderate size, and just going to finish centering up the clay, getting it ready to drop a hole, and I'm going to go ahead and at this point drop the hole. There's lots of different ways in which one can do this. I generally use my middle finger of my right hand. Let the clay pull the finger in, and that usually occurs if the clay is centered well. I kind of can feel that pressure. It's not centered well, then sometimes you can tell. So I'm just opening the piece, widening the hole basically, being careful not to do that too quickly, using even motion, compressing the top now. And this is the time when I like to flatten out the bottom. I think I've got the bottom about where I'd like for it to be. Trying to get that nice and even. Straightening up this wall, not really pulling, just kind of straightening this up, getting it ready for pulling. Again, taking out excess water out of the bottom, compressing the top, straightening the wall, keeping it nice and centered. I'm going to start a little groove at the bottom, putting even pressure. Just going to pull straight up, being careful not to thin the rim too much, which tends to be something else I've done before. Keeping the pot centered, keeping my hands wet, and compressing the top just to avoid thinning out the rim. I'm going to kind of work there a little bit more on the bottom. And this particular piece, I have a little bit of clay down here, so the piece is a bit congested, so to speak, on the inside. So I want to thin that out. Trying not to thin out too much more here on the top. I just really want to pull from the bottom. I'm just going to do that again here. Getting a groove at the bottom and working towards thinning that part out, not so much at the top. Okay, good. One of the things that I think people have a tendency to do is the top begins to flare out of control. So I try really hard to keep it where I want it to be in the cylinder shape until I'm ready to shape it into whatever it's going to be. In this case, I'm going to make kind of a bowl shape, keeping the rim nice and thick. And although I don't really probably need to do this, one of the steps that I like to do before I start to make any shape is trim the lip, even if it doesn't appear to need to be trimmed, because sometimes, especially from this viewpoint, the lip may be uneven, which will create trimming problems, and sometimes that's hard to see. So I always like to take just a little bit off before I start to do anything, to the piece. And now that I've got that to about where I want it in the cylinder shape, I'm going to go ahead and make it into a bowl. Again, getting the clay moist, dribbling on the lip so it goes both on the so the water goes both on the inside and outside. And then at this stage, I'm going to use my favorite tool, which is this blue tool. One of my favorites, I should guess. And blue tool on the inside in this position, sponge on the outside, bracing my arms against my legs, being careful not to touch the rim. I'm going to just kind of put that down in there and push out a bit, using the sponge to help me even out the pressure. And just bring that up. Careful on the top. Okay. Okay. So I didn't do a whole lot there. I just kind of thinned out the walls and just kind of evened out the throw marks, that kind of thing. Now, I could stop there, but I tend to prefer my pieces to be a little bit thin, probably too thin at times. Again, taking the blue tool down, going in the bottom, using the sponge this time. I'm going to undercut. Ooh, and just pull that up. This time doing it quicker because the clay is thinner. Gentle on the top. And pull away. Okay. Not a bad shape. There are definitely some much better potters out there on YouTube that I hope to learn a thing or two from, so feel free to comment on this video.